ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतः न शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ Dear friends, we were reading the 12th shloka of 8th adhyaya. I just read this shloka. Sarvadvarani sanyamya mano hrudi nirudhya cha murdhni adhaya atmanah pranam asthito yogadharanam. So that is where we are. So in the last class we discussed the overall context, that is Omkara. Now the context is Omkara Upasana, and along with this Omkara a little bit of yoga also is being added here. Not merely Omkara Dhyana, yoga also is being added here. So in this shloka it is said Sarvadvarani Sanyamya. That is, we have got various doors of perception, various doors of cognition. Navadvare Pure Dehi Naiva Kinchan Nakarayan we saw here. Puram Ekadasha Dwaram we saw in Kathopanishad. So books, of course, they may say, one book may say 9, one book may say 10, one book may say 11, etc. There is no hard and fast rule about it. And the idea is that there are certain doors of perception, doors of cognition, and also doors of action. So these things have to be properly restrained. These have to be properly controlled. They have to be brought under samyama. Samyama means samyak yama. Yama is control. Samyak, well, properly they should be brought under control. Sarvadvarani sanyamya mano hrudi nirudhyacha. This mind has to be brought under the control of the intellect. Mind is something, it is that faculty of mind which just very impulsively responds to a thing. Mind, it is just sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha, that is how it is defined. It just impulsively reacts to or responds to a thing. Whereas intellect, buddhi, is nischayatmika buddhihi. That is something which discriminates and then says whatever is right, what is wrong, what is correct, what is not correct, etc. So that is nischayatmika buddhihi. So the mind, this impulsive mind, should be brought under the control of the discriminating intellect, isn't it? So manaha hrudi nirudhyacha. Hrudi means in the heart. Heart in Vedanta does not refer to heart. Hrudi means hrudi buddhav, in the buddhi, in intellect. Nirudhya means nirodham krutva. That is, nirudhya means nirodham. Nirodham means to restrain. Restrain. Nirudhya means having restrained. In fact, this shloka, this 12th shloka and 13th shloka, they together form one sentence. So this 12th shloka which we are reading is only part of the sentence, half sentence. Having done this, having done this, having done this. So that is where it ends. So having done that, what else has to be done is told in the Om Ityekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan. So you have to also do this Omkara Japa. So that is what is told in the 13th shloka. So in this 12th shloka we are reading Manaha Hrudi Nirudhya, having restrained this mana, this impulsive mind in the discriminating intellect. Then Murdhni Adhaya Atmanah Pranam. Murdhan, the word Murdhan has several meanings in Sanskrit. Murdha, depending on the context, it refers to the whole head. For example, in Burhadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a Yajnavalkya Shakalya Samvada in Shakalya Brahmana. So in one context he says, in a metaphorical sense, Murdha te vyapatishyat, your head will roll off. He says, your head will roll, not literally, but in a metaphorical sense. So if you do this particular upasana in this particular way, you will, that will result in failure. So to mean that, he says, Murdha te vyapatishyat. So that is, Murdha is referring to the whole head. Then Murdha also refers to this forehead. Murdha also refers to Bhruvor Madhye, that is in between the brows. So in some earlier shloka also we have seen Bhruvor Madhye. Where is that shloka? Bhruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyak. That is 10th shloka. Bhruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyak. This prana has to be brought up to this point. This point we do not know what is the importance unless we do yoga and unless we go to the masters of yoga, we will not know the importance. But what generally people say is The skull, of course, the skull is a combination of various bones which almost they are sutured or stitched, isn't it? So there is one point here where three different bones they are just they find that is the point of intersection. Let us say all the three bones. Bone means a flat bone, a sort of cup-shaped bone. So three bones they meet here, and then there is the point of intersection. So that is supposed to be a place from where a practitioner of yogi or a consummate yogi, let us say, an expert yogi, he brings up the prana from that say what is this by awakening this kundalini by various bhumi jaya kramena. That's what we saw. Bhumi jaya kramena means one after the other he crosses over all these say chakras. First Mooladhara, what is this Swadhisthana, then Manipura, then Anahata Chakra, then again Vishuddhi Chakra, and from there he has to bring it up to this Agnya Chakra which is there in Bhruvor Madhye, and there he is supposed to, at the time of departure, the departure is in his own control. Departure also is in his own control. So he leaves the body, he leaves the prana from here. So that is what yoga practitioners say. So unless we meet some really great yoga practitioners, we will not be able to know the truth. So anyway, Murdhini Adhaya Atmanah Pranam. Atmanah Pranam means one's own prana. In the process of crossing different layers, let us say, different chakras, different plexuses as we call them. Chakra is a sort of nervous plexus of a nervous system, isn't it? So it has to be brought up to this point, and then it has to be let off from there. So that is what it means. Murdhini Adhaya. Adhaya means having placed there. All these things are in lep pratyaya, sarvadvarani sanyamya, having controlled, then mano hrudi nirudhya, having controlled the mind, and having brought this say prana up to this murdha, and then yoga dharanam asthitaha san, yoga dharanam asthitaha. This yoga dharana, we know dharana, that is deshabandha chittasya dharana, that is the mind has to be focused on a particular thing only. So here he is focusing on this Omkara, he is going to focus on this Omkara. So he is in that state of concentration. Having attained that state of concentration, yoga dharanam asthitaha, asthita san, you have to imagine, asthita san means having attained that state, having positioned oneself in that state, asthitaha, pravruttaha, Shankaracharya is going to say, that is engaged in that manner, or stationing, after having stationed himself in that manner. Then what else has to be done, we will see in the next shloka. Let us read the bhashyam here. Sarvadvarani sarvani cha tani dvarani cha sarvadvarani upalabdhau. So they are all these dvarani, that is doors, for what? Upalabdhau. Upalabdhi means cognition, jnana, upalabdhi, in order to receive things, receive sensory impressions, in order to understand. Upalabdhi. Upalabdhi means gaining actually. Upalabdhi literally it means gaining. Gaining what? Gaining all sensory experiences. So these are the doors which gain all these sensory experiences. And also there are also doors of action. There are certain doors from where no sensory perception is there. There are some doors of action also. So all these navadvaras. So these are the things. Tani sarvani sanyamya sanyamanam krutva manaha hrudi hrudaya pundarike nirudhya nirodham krutva nishpracharatam apadya. Okay, so here tani sarvani, all these doors, samyamanam krutva, having done that samyamanam, that is having controlled them, having restrained them properly, and then manaha hrudi hrudaya pundarike nirudhya. This mind has to be restrained in this hrudaya pundarika, that is in the buddhi. Buddhi is the discriminating faculty of the mind which has to control this impulsive mind, that is manaha. Impulsive faculty is the mind, mana. Mana is that preliminary stage where it just responds. Then nirodham krutva nishpracharatam apadya. Prachara means movement. Prachara is charati. Prakashena charati. Prakashena Charati iti pracharaha. So prachara is freely moving about. Nishprachara means you have to restrain it. You have to curtail the movement. Having totally curtailed the movement or curtailed the mobility, how? Not by force, by viveka. By viveka and proper discrimination you are supposed to do that. In fact, one commentator writes, Vishaya dosha darshanabhyasat, that is, Vishaya darshana dosha abhyasat tad buddhi tad vimukhatam apaditaihi. So when you look at some attractive thing, it may look very attractive, but you should also see the dosha, you should also see the faults, the negative factors associated with that. So how does one develop vairagya? If somebody is totally interested in all these sensory impressions, how is he going to develop vairagya? So vairagya is not having a negative mind. We are not talking about having a negative approach to things. That is, Vishaya dosha darshana means it does not mean only negative mind. You have to see the reality of it. You have to see the the so-called the unreality of objects. You have to see the ephemeral nature of objects. So that is dosha darshana. Not that you have to have a negative attitude to everything. Having negative attitude is also not correct. You have a proper appreciation from a higher point of view, from a larger point of view, from a bigger perspective. Have a bigger perspective in mind, and then from that bigger perspective you examine what is your sukha, what is your dukkha. So in fact in Kathopanishad we were reading yesterday, dukkham etc. is dukkham itself is your own wrong understanding of things. Dukkham nama prajnaparadha eva. Dukkham, one's own misery, is something which is due to your own aparadha. Aparadha means your own wrong understanding, wrong appreciation of things from a larger perspective. So that is it. Then Nishpracharata Mapadya means in that fashion, in that manner you have to see, you have to discriminate, you have to see the your predicament from a larger perspective. Then Tatra Vashikritena Manasa Hrudayad Urdhvagaminya Nadya Urdhvam Aruhya Murdhani Adhaya Atmanaha Pranam Asthitaha Pravruttaha Yoga Dharanam Dharayitum. Okay, he is ready in that manner. Yoga Dharanam Dharayitum Asthitaha. Asthita sun. Making oneself ready, getting oneself ready in that state of concentration. Yoga Dharana, in that state of concentration, getting oneself ready. How? Vashikrutena Manasa, that is having brought the mind under the control. Then Hrudayad Urdhvagaminya Nadya Urdhvam Aruhya Murdhani Adhaya Atmanah Pranam. Atmanah Pranam is the Vishaya here. That is, one's air, that vital air, he has to bring it up. He has to bring it up how? Hrudayad Urdhvagaminya Nadya. There is one Urdhvagamini Nadi. That is one vessel which goes up. That Sushumna Nadi, as the yogis call. There are three long nadis flowing from this medulla to the tip, which is somewhere near the rectum. So from here to the bottom there are three nadis which are running parallel. The central nadi is supposed to be the very important nadi called Sushumna. There is one nadi on the right and there is one nadi on the left which is called Ida and Pingala. So in yoga, of course, they give some significance to that. What is that Ida Nadi, what is Pingala Nadi, and then how the prana has to be led up to that Sushumna Nadi and whatnot. So having brought your vital air through this Sushumna Nadi, and then you have to bring it up to this point. So that is what they say. Asthitaha pravruttaha yoga dharanam. Just ready for utkramana. Utkramana means that is leaving the body. Pranottkramana. So that is what we see here. So the buddhi vrittis have to be restrained, and you have to bring the prana up to this bhruvor madhye. Then this particular strategy or this particular plan is told for whom is it told? In the earlier avatarika we have seen Parasya Brahmanaha Vachaka Rupena Pratimavat Pratika Rupena cha. So this Omkara is a Vachaka for that Parabrahma. That is, it denotes that Parabrahma in case you understand the significance. In case you do not understand the significance, it will still work as a symbol. Just as you have a particular symbol, you have a particular idol in order to represent Vishnu, you take some particular salagrama to represent Vishnu, you take a small Spatika linga to represent Shiva. So like that it will serve as a pratika or a symbol. But if you understand the significance of it, how that say Omkara has been derived, how that has been arrived at, how it signifies that that imperishable, that all pervading Brahman, where all experiences they merge in it. So all that experience, in fact we had a fairly long discussion for about 30-40 minutes on Omkara only. So that Omkara serves both as a strategy for achieving Parabrahma and also as a strategy for achieving the Aparabrahma. So we are now in the context of this Manda and Madhyamadhikaris. So these Manda and Madhyamadhikaris, depending on their level of understanding, depending on their level of sadhana, they will practice this yoga. So that is the thing. So Nadyor Madhye Murdhni Adhaya Yogadharanam Dharayitum Pravruttasan. Then what happens to that? Tatraivacha Dharayan. That is, having held that particular pranam in that particular place. Then what has he to do? Let us read the next shloka. Om Ityekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan ma manusmaran Yah prayati tyajan deham Sayati paramam gatim. Okay. So here he says Om Ityekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan. So this Om is one word. It is just one word only. Just mention that Om. So that is what it means. Om Ityekaksharam. Ekaksharam is just one letter. Just mention this one letter which represents this Brahma. So Ekaksharam is it is used to commend this Omkara. This Omkara, this one syllable is good enough. This one letter is good enough. This Omkara, this one letter is good enough. Om Ityekaksharam. This Aksharam Brahma. Vyaharan. Vyahara means japa. Vyahara means to utter. Uttering means japa. There is a slight difference between japa and dhyana. Japa is merely reciting a particular mantra, reciting certain varnas, bijatshara as we call them. Dhyanam is to meditate on them. Dhyanam is to know the meaning and meditate. Japa, it does not imply this understanding the meaning and meditation. So here initially he is saying Vyaharan, and he in the very next word he is also saying Mam Anusmaran. That is thinking about me. That involves that japa. This Omkara, he is initially saying Vyaharan, he has to do japa and also do this dhyana. This Mam Anusmaran, think of this Brahman. Mam Anusmaran. Mam means Brahman, the Supreme Brahman. Anusmaran, you have to meditate on that. You have to understand. You have to understand the meaning of that Omkara. Om Ityekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan Mam Anusmaran. This Ekaksharam, one commentator has also split that Eka and Aksharam, saying Ekam means that Advitiyam, non-dual. Aksharam means non-perishing. So that non-dual, imperishable Brahma. Om, which represents the non-dual, imperishable Brahma. So that is how Madhusudana Saraswati has interpreted Ekaksharam, Ekam Advitiyam Aksharam Avinashi Sarvavyapakam Brahma Mam, he says. So I am just reading out 2 or 3 bhashyas at a time so that I can give you more information and I can explain the words in a better way. Okay, some more meanings can be had from the same thing. Om Ityekaksharam Brahma. Literally it means just this one word is enough. That is what it means. Om Ityekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan Mam Anusmaran Yah Prayati Tyajan Deham. Mam Anusmaran Deham Tyajan. That is leaving the body. Yaha Prayati. The one who leaves. The one who lives in that particular fashion. So this earlier sentence also we have to, earlier shloka we have to connect to this. That is, number one, you have to control all the doors of cognition. The mind has to be controlled, then Atmanah Pranam has to be brought up to this Murdha, then Omkara has to be properly understood, and then it has to be meditated upon, and that in that manner you have to leave the prana. So that is what he says, yeah, prayati. Prayati means prayana, involving prayana, yati, yadhatu. That is yati. Prayati means he departs. Prayati. Tyajan deham sa yati paramam gatim. So that particular man, he attains that Brahmaloka, paramam gatim, prakrushtam gatim, that supreme thing. Here of course, it is not directly moksha. Directly moksha cannot be attained by upasana. That is the basic doctrine, isn't it? Direct moksha can be got only by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, etc., etc. So along this Omkara, along with this Omkara dhyana, in case there is this Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, etc., then he may attain moksha. So that is why all commentators have written here that Paramagati is that Brahmaloka or Hiranyagarbhaloka, from where along with that Hiranyagarbha he merges into Brahman, he becomes enlightened, he becomes Brahma. So that is what is written by all commentators. This is called Kramamukti. So there is what is called Hiranyagarbhaloka, otherwise called Brahmaloka, that we have heard, we have discussed several times. So this Hiranyagarbhaloka is attained in two manners. One is by upasana. Upasana is upasana of a God form. So that Hiranyagarbha form, that ultimate deity, if you do upasana, then ultimately you are going to attain that particular level of awareness, that state of, that experiential state called Hiranyagarbhaloka or Brahmaloka. So that is one way. The other way to attain it is by performing certain yajnas. Certain yajnas also enable you to go to that particular Brahmaloka. Not only Swarga, the highest thing that can be achieved by the yajnas. For example, the topmost yajna like Ashwamedha or Rajasuya. So in those things, what is attainable is that Brahmaloka. But there is a slight difference between the upasana, the man who has gone via upasana path, and the man who goes by this karma path. The person who goes by the karma path, there is a return. That we are going to see in, I think, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka, that is Shloka 16. We are going to see that. The one who goes to this, reaches this Hiranyagarbhaloka through the process of yajna, like Ashwamedha, etc., there is a return. But the one who goes by proper understanding, by upasana, upasana means understanding a God form, meditating on a particular God form, not blind bhakti, but understanding a particular God form and doing upasana of the God, you reach that place, and because of the purity of mind which is also associated because of this yoga and whatnot, you will become enlightened in that particular state, in that particular loka. So that there, the one who has gone through upasana path, there is no return. So this is the difference which we have to remember. Abrahma Bhuvana Lokaha, that shloka also we are going to see. So this Brahmaloka or Hiranyagarbhaloka is attained in two manners. One by upasana, one by karma. This karma fellow will return. Upasana man will not return. Upasana man will be there only, and then because of the fructification of his upasana, he will attain moksha. So that is why it is called Krama Mukti. That is what Shankaracharya is also going to say here, and other commentators also have said it is a Krama Mukti which is intended here. So let us read the Bhashyam. Om ityekaksharam brahma brahmanaha abhidhana bhutam omkaram vyaharan ucharan tadartha bhutam mam ishwaram anusmaran anuchintayan yah prayati mriyate sa tyajan parityajan deham shariram. Okay, we'll stop here. Om ityekaksharam brahma brahmanaha abhidhanam. Abhidhanam, what is abhidhanam? Abhidhana is name, that's all. Brahmanaha, denotation. That is a word which denotes, not denotation, a word which denotes. That is the name. Name is the thing which denotes a particular thing, isn't it? Brahmanaha abhidhanam. This is the name of Brahman. So here, Brahma, the abhidhana bhutam, Shankaracharya says, abhidhana bhutam and abhidhanam, there is a difference. Abhidhanam means it directly denotes. Abhidhana bhutam means it is like a name. It is like denoting it. Because we should always remember the Upanishadic lines that Brahman cannot be described by words. Brahman, if it can be described by words, it will be like any other Vishaya. I describe a pen, I describe another object, I describe some other thing. If the human mind is able to conceive, if the human mind is able to describe the Brahman, then Brahma also will become an object. So Brahma is something which is beyond description. So that is why in the last class we discussed this Omkara. Omkara, it has to cover all the experiential states, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, all the experiential states. It has to cover all the lokas. It has to encompass all the Shabda Prapancha. It has to encompass all the Rupa Prapancha. So all experiences of all beings have to be encompassed in that. So that Sarva Vyapi. So all these things in that manner you have to bring. In spite of it, that will not completely describe Brahma. It is only a sort of adjective for Brahma. So that is why he says Abhidhana Bhutam. So we have to see the distinction between Abhidhanam and Abhidhana Bhutam. So Abhidhana Bhutam means Abhidhana Tulyam, that is equal to that. It is almost like that. Because the Shruti always says Yato Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manasa Saha. This mind and all the words and all these things, they cannot describe the Brahman. They all just bounce back. Unable to describe that Brahman. So that is what is it. Then Omkaram, Vyaharan, Ucharan, that is while repeating or while doing the japa, then not only doing japa, tad artha bhutam mam ishwaram anusmaran anuchintayan. So he is also associating this dhyana, japa and dhyana. That is mam. Who is this mam? Ishwaram, tad artha bhutam mam ishwaram. I who am, Artha Bhutam means I who am designated by that. I who am designated by that or denoted by that. And then Anusmaran Anuchintayan. That is dwelling on the meaning of that Omkara. Dwelling on the supreme nature of that Omkara. Doing that, Yaha Prayati Mriyate. The one who leaves the body. Prayati means who dies. Prayati departs. Mriyate, very clearly saying who dies. Then sa parityajan deham shariram, and departing the body, leaving the body like that. Then tyajan dehamiti prayana visheshanartham. Okay. This tyajan deham, yah prayati tyajan deham, leaving the body, etc. So that is to denote that prayana, that is to illustrate that there is a prayana. For whom is this prayana? It is not the Atma. It is not the Atma which is having that prayana. It is the Linga Sarira which is having that prayana, isn't it? So this Atma, it is only, the Jiva is only leaving the body. The Jiva, the journey for the Jiva is it only implies leaving the body, that's all. Yajan Dehamiti Prayana Visheshanartham. That is, leaving the body is denoted as prayana, but actually for Atma there is no prayana. Because Atma is something which is present everywhere. Atma is something which is present everywhere. So there is no question of Atma traveling from one place to another place. Then what is it that is traveling? Only an insentient thing, a jada thing, a parichinna, that is a delimited thing, can only travel from place to place. Something which is infinity, an infinity cannot move, because an infinitude it is there everywhere. So isn't it? So Atma, in the case of Atma, there is no travel. Just to indicate that Tyajan Dehamiti Prayana Visheshanartham. So just to indicate that for Atma there is no prayana. The prayana, just it is being mentioned, in a way it is being mentioned that Tyajan Deham, that's all. Atma has no prayana, it is the Linga Deha which is having prayana. Linga Deha, all said and done, what is this Linga Deha? Linga Deha is this, say the mind, the sense organs, pranas, etc. All these things are insentient. Mind is insentient, then pranas are insentient. Pranas means the vital airs only. Then sense organs, they are again insentient. All these things. So for a jada there is prayana, not for the chaitanyam. Because chaitanyam is something which is present everywhere. Then dehatyagena prayanam atmanah na swarupanashena ityarthaha. So jiva is something which does not die. There is no swarupanasha for the jiva. Dehatyagena prayanam atmanah. Just by leaving the body in a rather figurative way, this prayana is being described. This prayana which is being told about the jiva is only a figurative thing, but in fact the jiva is not dying actually. Na swarupa nashena. There is no swarupa nasha for that jiva. This have you followed?
Yes.
The jiva is something which is only, it leaves the body. It is the linga sharira leaves the body. Jiva is, that is atma, is present everywhere. And what is dying is the body. It is not the jiva, it is which is dying. Then sa evam tyajan yati gacchati paramam prakrustam gatim. So sa evam tyajan. So this man leaving the body in this manner, evam tyajan. Evam means in this manner, tyajan, that is leaving the body. Gacchati paramam prakrustam gatim. He leaves, he attains prakrustam gatim yati. He attains that supreme state. And what is that supreme state? So there again it is told by the commentators that it is Krama Mukti. Anandagiri, who immediately comments on the Shankara Bhashya, he writes Krama Mukti, and then it is via that Brahmaloka. What he gets that Paramam Gatim is via that Brahmaloka, because it is that Upasana Marga which is being told here. Upasana can only take you to that Brahmaloka. Only Jnana Marga, that is Shravana Manana Nididhyasana only, can take you to that moksha. So that is the difference, that difference we have to keep in mind. So let us read the next shloka. Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityashah nityashah. Is there a print mistake?
Yes.
Okay. Tasyaham sulabhah partha nitya yuktasya yoginah. So here he is talking about another person. So who is Ananya chetaha satatam yomam smarati nishyata nityashah. So this shloka has been interpreted by Shankaracharya to refer to say prakrustam gatim mokshakhyam. He is interpreting in the way of moksha. But some other people have said in the have interpreted in the form of Krama Mukti only. We can follow Shankaracharya's thing. Why? The reason why I am telling all this is, somebody may say no, this is wrong. So that is why I am referring to 3 or 4 commentaries, and then we are ultimately following Shankaracharya, what Shankaracharya is saying. So here Ananya chetaha satatam yomam smarati nityashah. Yaha mam nityashah smarati. The one who remembers me always. Yaha mam, yaha means the one who, mam, me, nityashah, always, smarati, remembers or thinks about me. Ananya chetaha. Ananya chetaha means chetas is, what is chetas? Chetas is mind. Chetas is mind. Anya chetas is, the mind is elsewhere. Na plus anya cheta is ananya chetaha. The mind is not elsewhere. The mind is present here only. The mind is present here only means you are fully having concentration. You are having full attention, full concentration. You are devoting your attention only on the Supreme Brahman, Ananya chetaha. Not thinking of anything else, not diverting your mind to any other place. So that is what it means. Na anya chetaha. Ananya chetaha satatam. Ananya chetaha is not plural. Ananya chetaha is referring to the person who is having that mind. Ananya chetaha. So that is it. Satatam, always. Yaha mam smarati nityashah. Tasya means to that man. Aham sulabhaha. I can be attained easily. Aham sulabhaha. Nitya yuktasya yoginah. To that gentleman who is also a yogi. Yogi samahita chitta. Nitya yuktaha. He is always in that samadhi. Yukta, the meaning of yukta we know. Samahita chitta. Samahita chitta means one who has attained that stability in that nididhyasana. So he is in that nididhyasana level. So if you take that meaning of nididhyasana, you can say derive the meaning that ultimately it is referring to moksha. If you don't take the meaning of nididhyasana, you should refer to krama mukti only. It all depends on what meaning you are taking here, because ultimately the other Madhusudana Saraswati or anybody else also, they do not deviate from the doctrine. So what meaning you are giving here is important. They do not deviate from the doctrine. If you are giving the reason, Nitya Yukta, if you are taking it as Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, you can say that it is leading to moksha. Nitya Yukta, if you only take it as Upasana, then you have to take it as Krama Mukti. So that is as simple as that. So is the shloka clear? So this Ananya, this earlier shloka, we saw those who are in this yoga abhyasa, that is bringing up the vital air to that murdha and whatnot. So here, for those who are not in that yoga path, who are in this path of purely thinking, ananya chetaha, that is Shravana Marana Nididhyasana level. For them, what is happening? For them, aham sulabhaha nitya yuktasya yoginaha. So that is it. Let us read the bhashyam. Ananya iti. Ananya cheta. Na anya vishaye chetaha yasya saha. I am ananya chetaha. So this is the vigraha vakyam. For every samasa, there is a vigraha vakya also very often written by Shankaracharya. That is, na anya vishaye chetaha yasya. That is, one whose mind is not dwelling on something else. One whose mind is not deviating or going astray and dwelling on something else. So that is the meaning. Saha ayam ananya chetaha. Yogi satatam sarvada yo mam parameshwaram smarati nityashaha. Satatam iti nairantarya muchyate. Nityashaha iti dirghakalatvam muchyate. So there are two words mentioned here. Satatam, Nityashaha. Satatam means all through the day. Nairantaryam, without a gap. Nairantaryam means without any antaram. Antaram is gap. Nairantarya, Satatam. Nityashaha means every day. One day. Satatam refers to one day, all through the day, and all so many days. Satatam refers to Nairantaryam, that is without leaving any gap. When you are taking food, when you are Gachan, we had seen one shloka, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Swasan, Pralapan, Visrujan, Grunhan. So in that particular state, everywhere you are always conscious. You are always conscious that it is the Indriyani, Indriyartheshu Vartanta iti dharayan. These Indriyas, they are going after the Indriyarthas. I am that Supreme Self. So you are in that state of awareness where you are conscious at every place that these Indriyas, or Indriyas means the sense organs, they are only running after the going after the sense organs, and then he doesn't run after them. He is in that state of awareness, and then he is in a position to control all those things. So that is what we had seen earlier also. Then I was also telling on one more line, yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhayah. Wherever the mind goes, the mind is always in a samadhi. So that is samadhi means samahita chittam. It is in that nididhyasana level. It does not go astray. He is always aware. Even when he say whatever intake is there, ahriyate iti ahara, isn't it? Whatever intake is there by the sense organs, they are all screened. They are all screened by his viveka buddhi. So that is the meaning here. So here satatam iti nairantarya muchyate, nityashaha iti dirghakalatvam muchyate. Nityashaha means every day. Nityashaha, nityam, anunityam, we say anunityam means every day. Nityashaha. So these two words, nairantarya and dirghakala, are actually used by Patanjali also. There is a sutra, nairantarya Satu Dirghakala Nairantarya Satkara Sevito Drudha Bhumi. There is one Patanjali Sutra. This Samadhi will be attained by Nairantarya Dirghakala Nairantarya Satkara Asevitaha. That is, there should be two factors. That is, one is Dirghakala. It is not as though for one day you sit and then meditate and then you achieve things. It should be Dirghakala and Nairantarya. So for a long time you have to do that, and every day, every minute you have to be on that only. That means your mind has to be focused on the Brahman, on Brahman. So that is what it means. देन् नित्यशः इति दीर्घकालत्वम् उच्यते न षण्मासं संवत्सरं वा किं तर्हि यावज्जीवं नैरन्तर्येण यो मां स्मरति इत्यर्थः ओके न षण्मासं संवत्सरं वा षण्मासं मीन्स् 6 months संवत्सरं वा 1 year. It is not as though he just thinks about does meditation for 1 year, half year or 1 year, 6 months or 1 year. Dirgha kalam, that is all through the life. Yavat jivam means all through the life, all through the life. Nairantaryena yomam smarati. So that is what is implied here. So that is one person who is doing this meditation all through his life. So here of course we can take we can also remember that if he really does this Shravana Manana Nididhyasana and if he attains perfection in Nididhyasana, he will attain Jnanam here itself, isn't it? He will attain Moksha here itself. So probably there is a scope for interpreting this thing in both ways. There is a scope for interpreting it as say the person who is say attaining Moksha, or he is attaining moksha in a gradual manner, that is krama mukti. So that both ways we can interpret. Yomam smarati ityartha. Tasya yoginah aham sulabhah sukhena labhyah partha nitya yuktasya sada samahitasya yoginah. So tasya yoginah, to that yogi, aham sulabhah, I can be attained easily. Sukhena labhyah, I can be attained easily. He Partha, O Arjuna. Nitya yuktasya sada samahitasya yoginah. So whose mind is always in a state of equilibrium, in a state of that nididhyasana. Then yatayeva mataha ananya chetasan mayi sada samahito bhavet. Okay. So one has to be samahito bhavet means it is told in third person. One has to be always keeping his mind on me, dwelling his mind, concentrating his mind on me. Atayeva mataha, because of this, ananya chetasan, by not deviating onto something else, one has to meditate on me. So that is what it means. Then tava saulabhyena. So in this shloka, what did we see? We saw two things. It is this Shankaracharya's commentary is referring to that say sutra of Patanjali also, Dirghakara, Nairantarya, Satkara, etc. Then one more point he said is Brahma is not difficult to attain. Aham sulabhaha, that is what he said. And this shloka is say not for those people who are doing that Vayu Nirodha, Murdhini Adhaya, Pranam, etc. but those who are doing pure Upasana. Then say, as I said, one commentator says it is referring to a jnani, another commentator says it is referring to say krama mukti. So that is what, both ways it can be interpreted. So in the next shloka, of course, Shankaracharya is saying paramam prakrushtam gatim mokshakhyam. So in the next shloka. So let us read the next shloka. There is a small avatarika. Tava saulabhyena kim syadityuchyate shrunu. Okay. Shrunu tat mama saulabhyena yad bhavati. So okay, tava saulabhyena kim syat. What is going to happen if you are so easily attained? If you are so easily attained, what is the result? So that is what it means. Let us read the shloka. Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanah napnuvanti mahatmanah samsiddhim paramam gatah. So these mahatmanah, he is referring to mahatmanah, really commendable people. Mahatma, we know, great soul, as Mahatma Gandhi or somebody is referred. Mahatma, the plural is Mahatmanah. Mahan Atma Yasya Sa Mahatma. The plural is Mahatmanah, Atma, Atmano, Atmanah. So Mahatmanah, so he is referring to those people who are praiseworthy, who are commendable. So what happens to them? So they, Mam Upetya Punarjanma Na Apnuvanti. They will not attain that Punarjanma. they will not attain Punarjanma. Mam upetya, having attained me. Having attained me, they will not get Punarjanma. So that is the link here. Mam upetya, having attained me, Punarjanma na apunuvanti. They will not get this Punarjanma. How, what type of, what is the nature of this Punarjanma? Punarjanma is of the nature of dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So this Punarjanma is always associated with dukkha. It is associated with some misery. And then ashashvatam. Ashashvatam is impermanent, ephemeral. This janma, every janma is ephemeral only, isn't it? And then every janma contains some its own quota of misery, happiness, misery, etc., etc. This happiness also is momentary, misery again, happiness after misery, misery after happiness. The cycle goes on and on like that. Dukkhalayam. Alayam is another word which we have to see. Alayam. A means up to. A has two meanings. We are going to see in the next shloka also. A Brahma Bhuvanal Loka. We are going to see that. A is an upasarga or a prefix rather. A means Ang Maryada Abhividhyoho. There is a Panini Sutra. You can also note if you want. Ang Maryada Abhividhyoho. That is Ang Maryada Abhividhyoho. That is Maryada means simply in English up to. Abhividhi means including. Maryada Abhividhi. So here, what is that? Alayam. Alayam means Laya Paryantam, up to the state of Laya. That is, till you attain Laya, till you attain dissolution. When do you attain dissolution? Dissolution, not disillusionment. Disillusionment is different. Dissolution, D-I-S-S-O-L-U-T-I-O-N, dissolution. When do you attain that dissolution? Only when you have jnana. Only when you have jnana, you resolve this sthula sharira, this annamaya kosha into pranamaya kosha. Then pranamaya kosha you reject and then go to vijnanamaya kosha. Vijnanamaya kosha you reject and then go to anandamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, and then vijnanamaya kosha, and then to anandamaya kosha. So then you realize that you are nothing but that Sat Chit Ananda. Going beyond that Anandamaya Kosha, you realize that you are that Sat Chit Ananda. So that is the process of Laya. Laya means discarding the grosser ones, and from gross to subtle, you have to ascend step by step. So that is what is called a Laya. Laya, that is dissolving one thing into another, dissolving a gross thing in the subtle, then this subtle into more subtler thing, and that thing into more subtler thing. So like that you have to go. That is called Laya. Alayam means Laya Paryantam. So this is Dukkha Alayam. The Dukkhani Laya Paryantam Santi Asmin. That is, in this Punarjanma, all these dukkha's, all these miseries will be there Laya Paryantam. That is, till you attain that Laya. So that is the meaning given by one commentator, and it's a beautiful meaning. Of course, Shankaracharya has not gone into such details. There are some commentators who go into the etymology of the word and then explain in a beautiful way. So this meaning is beautifully given, so we can take it. So Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. Ashashvatam is ephemeral, impermanent. So then this Punarjanma, which is characterized, which can be called Dukkhalaya and also Ashashvata, these people, these Mahatmanaha na apnuvanti, they will not attain. Then why? Samsiddhim paramam gataha. Paramam samsiddhim gataha. They have attained this supreme samsiddhi, attainment. Siddhi means attainment, isn't it? Samsiddhi, that supreme attainment. Paramam samsiddhim. That supreme attainment called moksha, that supreme goal called moksha, these people have attained. Because having come to me, they have attained that supreme thing. So that is why they are not going to get this Punarjanma. So here again, there can be two levels of interpretation. One is saying that if these people have really done nididhyasana, these people are straight away going to moksha. Then if these people have only come by way of upasana, these people they will have this krama mukti. So both ways it can be interpreted. Shankaracharya, of course, he says samsiddhi mokshakhyam paramam gatim. So let us see the bhashyam. Then mam upetya
Mam upetya.
Mam, is the shloka clear?
Yes.
Okay. Mam upetya, mam Ishwaram upetya.
Mam upetya, mam Ishwaram upetya.
Madbhavam apadya.
Madbhavam apadya.
Punarjanma punarutpattim.
Punarjanma punarutpattim.
Na prapnuvanti.
Na prapnuvanti.
So the same thing. Mam upetya, mam Ishwaram. I who am Ishvara, upetya, having attained. Madbhavam apadya, that is having come to my state. Madbhavam is my state. My state apadya, that is my say level, having attained my level. Then punarjanma punarutpattim na prapnuvanti. Then kim visishtam punarjanma na apnuvanti.
Kim visishtam punarjanma na apnuvanti.
Tad visheshanamaha.
Tad visheshanamaha.
Dukkhalayam.
Dukkhalayam.
So kim visishtam punarjanma. That is what is, how is it characterized? Kim visishtam. What is the visheshana? What is the visheshana or what is the adjective? How are you going to describe that punarjanma? Kim visishtam. How do you characterize it? Tad visheshanamaha. That visheshanam, that adjective is being told. It is called dukkhalayam. Dukkhanam adhyatmikadinam.
Dukkhanam adhyatmikadinam.
Alayam ashrayam.
Alayam ashrayam.
Aliyante yasmin dukkhani iti.
Aliyante yasmin dukkhani iti.
Dukkhalayam.
Dukkhalayam.
Janma.
Janma.
So dukkhanam, there are three types of dukkhas which we know. There are adhyatmika, adi bhautika, adi daivika, isn't it? Adhyatmika means in one's own body, adi plus atma, atmani. Atmani is adhyatma, that is in one's own self, relating to the body. Adi bhautika, something relating to the physical say world, that is when I go out, there is a very hot sun or there is very extreme cold. Then adi daivika, something suddenly, some say by some divine intervention, something happens. Some there is there can be a say thunder and a building may collapse. Something else may happen. That is something which is adi daivika. So which is something which is by way of some divine intervention, something can happen. So that sort of thing. So dukkhanam adhyatmikadinam. Adhyatmika, adi daivika, adi bhautika. There are three types of things. Tesham alayam. Alayam is ashrayam. This is something which is say an ashrayam. This is a shelter. Ashraya is actually means a shelter. This is a place where all these things happen. So shelter means it is not as though the body is giving shelter to that. This is a place where all these things take place, this janma. Then Shankaracharya is giving a meaning. Aliyante yasmin dukkhani iti dukkhalayam. Aliyante, all these things, all these dukkhas, dukkhani, aliyante, they are so inherently in that. They are so inherently present. Aliyante iti dukkhalayam janma. So it is inherently say full of misery. Then nakevalam dukkhalayam.
Nakevalam dukkhalayam.
Ashashvatam.
Ashashvatam.
Anavasthita rupam.
Anavasthita rupam.
So this is something anavasthita rupam cha. Anavasthitam. There is no definiteness about it. There is no finality. Avasthiti is to be firmly established. Anavasthiti means the nature is indefinite. It cannot be say predicted. It is so impermanent. So this indefinite unpredictable nature. So nakevalam dukkhalayam. Nakevalam is not only is it a place of dukkhas, but it is also ashashvatam. It is also temporary. It is also ephemeral. Anavasthita rupam cha. Then na apnuvanti. Idrusham punarjanma. Mahatmanaha yatayaha. Samsiddhim mokshakhyam paramam prakrushtam gatim. Prakrushtam gataha praptaha. Okay. Mokshakhyam paramam prakrushtam gataha praptaha. So these people have attained that mokshakhyam, that which is called moksha, that which is called say liberation, that which is called say enlightenment. So having attained that state, that is paramam prakrushtam, this particular place, so that samsiddhi which is supreme, parama is prakrushta, gataha praptaha. These people who have attained that particular stage. So Shankaracharya, he is referring to this place, this particular attainment as say direct moksha. But again, of course, as I said, say Madhusudana Saraswati says, "Mam prapya siddhim gata iti upasakanam krama muktihi darshita," he says. So depending on how you interpret those words, you have to say derive the conclusion. If you say it as nididhyasana, the conclusion will be moksha. If you say it as upasana, the conclusion will be krama mukti, brahmaloka prapti. So that is how it is. Is there any confusion or anything? No. Okay. Samsiddhim mokshakhyam paramam prakushtam gataha. Okay. Next shloka let us read. Ye punaha mam na prapnuvanti te punaravartante. Okay. Ye punaha. On the other hand, those who. Ye punaha means, on the other hand, those who mam na prapnuvanti. Those who will not, who do not attain me. Te punaravartante. Avartanam is return. Punaravartanam. Avartanam is return. Punaravartante means they do return. They do return to this world. Those who do not attain me, they do return to this world. So let us read the, some more is there. Ke kim punaha tvattaha anyat praptaha punaravartante ityuchyate. Ke means who. Kim punaha tvattaha anyaha praptaha. That is, those who have attained something which is different from you. Tvattaha anyaha praptaha. That is, those who have attained something different from you. They have not attained Brahmaloka. They have gone to Swarga, they have gone to some other loka, they have gone to some other, say, inferior level. So for them, who are those people who return? Punaravartante. Who are those people who do return? Iti uchyate. It is being told. Let us read this shloka. Abrahma bhuvanalokaha punaravartinorjuna mam upetyatu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. So this is a sort of doctrinal statement, let us say. This is a sort of something like a policy statement. This is something like a doctrinal statement which you find in the Upanishads. That is, one who all the lokas up to and including this Brahmaloka are punaravartinaha. That is, they are of the nature of having a return. It is not the loka which returns, it is the person who goes to that loka who returns. So it is a metaphorical way. In English we call it a transferred epithet. So it is not the loka which is returning, it is the person who will return. Abrahma bhuvanat lokaha punaravartinaha. All these lokas, they are returning in nature. That is, the persons who go to these lokas, they do return. That is the meaning. So, Brahma bhuvanat. Brahma bhuvana. Brahma bhuvana means Brahma loka. Bhuvana, we know, bhuvanam means loka. Bhavanti bhutani asmannite bhuvanam. Isn't it? So, Brahma bhuvanat. This we saw in the earlier shloka also, in the earlier line also, alayam, I explained. Ang maryada abhividhyoha. Then maryada is up to. Abhividhi means including. So here, in that earlier line, alayam, up to laya, that is maryada, we saw, up to. Here, the including Brahmaloka, all these lokas, they are returning in nature. How is it? We just now learned, we have been discussing that this Brahmaloka is a place. Brahmaloka means that Hiranyagarbhaloka is a place from where there is no return. So that is why I explained to you that there are two types of people who go to this Hiranyagarbhaloka. One type through Upasana and one type through Yajna, that is Ashwamedha, etc. The people who go through this Upasana path, they don't have return. And the people who go through this Karma path, they do have return. So this is what we have to remember. Otherwise, you may find that this shloka, how is it? Abrahma bhuvana lokaha, Shankaracharya is saying, including this Brahmaloka, they are having return. So we have to remember that there are two types of people who are going to this Brahmaloka, and then one type of people there is no return. For the people who do this Upasana and by understanding that Omkara and or understanding a God's say divine nature, but the people who go by Yajna path, they do return. So that is what we have to remember. Brahma bhuvanat, that is including Brahmaloka. All these lokaha, hey Arjuna, O Arjuna, punaravartinaha, they are of returning in nature. The people who go there, they do return. Then, माम उपेत्य तु, हे कौंतेय, ओ कौंतेय, ओ son of Kunti, tu on the other hand, माम उपेत्य, having attained me, punarjanma na vidyate, this punarjanma, rebirth, na vidyate, it is not seen, you do not have a rebirth. So that is what it means. Is there time?
1 minute.
Only 1 minute. Okay, let us read one line. के किम, ओके, आ ब्रह्म इति,
आ ब्रह्म इति,
आ ब्रह्म भुवनात्,
आ ब्रह्म भुवनात्,
भवन्ति यस्मिन् भूतानि इति भुवनं,
भवन्ति यस्मिन् भूतानि इति भुवनं,
ब्रह्म भुवनं ब्रह्मलोक इत्यर्थः.
ब्रह्म भुवनं ब्रह्मलोकः इत्यर्थः.
ओके, आ ब्रह्म भुवनात्, he is explaining भवन्ति यस्मिन् भूतानि इति भुवनं. Bhuvanam is a place where all the beings they exist. Bhavanti bhutani. All the beings they exist in this, so that is why it is called Bhuvanam. So A Brahma Bhuvanat, Brahma Bhuvanam Brahmaloka ityarthaha. Then A Brahma Bhuvanat,
आ ब्रह्म भुवनात्,
Saha Brahma Bhuvanena Lokaha,
सः ब्रह्म भुवनेन लोकाः,
Sarve Punaravartinaha,
सर्वे पुनरावर्तिनः,
Punaravartana Swabhavaha.
पुनरावर्तन स्वभावाः.
Hey Arjuna.
हे अर्जुन.
Okay, A Brahma Bhuvanat means Brahma Bhuvanena Saha. So as I said, this A means two things. Tena Vina, Tena Saha. Tena Vina means excluding that, that is up to. Then Tena Saha, that is including that. So here we are seeing Tena Saha, that is Brahma Bhuvanena Saha. That is including Brahmaloka. All the lokas are Punaravartana. So let us read this line in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadayak Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.